Guys, and welcome once more back to our channel, the GCE Math Panel. In today's tutorials, we are looking at the correction of June 2022 Mathematics Paper 2. So I implore your indulgence to watch this paper to the end. Please watch this paper to the end because we have a lot in stock for you. Equally, let's begin with the first question. Express 6.093 to one decimal place. So when we look at this number 6.093, we see that we have 6, and after that we have a point, right? Now from this point, the next digit we have is a 0, but this 9 is going to affect the 0, so we are going to round that 9 to 1 and add here, and this number gives us 6.1. So normally this one, they will surely mark this one method 1, but there's no method, so they'll just give 2 marks for that one, or 1 mark. Then B, evaluating 2/3 plus a fifth divided by 3/4 minus a third gives. What they require here is the knowledge of both mass. So if you look at both mass, the first operation we have to do here is this division. Okay, so we do this division first of all. So we are going to have 1/5 times, we take the reciprocal of 3/4, that will give us 4/3, right? So times 4/3, and this will actually give us 4, because nothing can cancel out, so this will give us 4/15. So this gives us 4/15. Now what we are going to do is we will come back to this same position and replace what we have in this bracket by this 4/15. So now we will be having 2/3 plus, the plus sign is still there, plus what value? Plus 4/15. Then we continue with the subtraction that is outside. In our previous videos, most of you complained that we were too fast. So we are trying to be as slow as possible right now. We are trying to keep pace. Now when you look at these three, the LCM of 3, 15 and 3 is 15. So our LCM here is 15. Now 15, this LCM 15 divided by 3 will give us 5 times 2, 10. 10 plus 15 divided by 15. 15 divided by 15 is 1 times 4, 4. Now minus 15 divided by 3, which is 5 times 1, 5. So this number will now give us 10 plus 4, which is 14, minus 5, that is 9. So that gives us 9/15. Now this is the answer, but if you end here, they may decide not to give you all the marks because you have not simplified. So we can further simplify. You have 3 here 3 times and 3 here 5 times. So the final answer, for example, when you're working and you don't have space, you can always work like this, okay? So the final answer is 3/5, and you have your full marks for this question. Guys, please, if you are watching this video, you can contact us using the number on screen or the other number on the website to get the complete corrections for mathematics from June 2010 to 2022, paper 1 and paper 2, as well as other subjects. And if you want to supply our books with these corrections, you can contact us. Let us discuss the business. Be it a student or a teacher, you can contact us from all the different regions and different towns: Bamenda, Boya, Douala, Yaoundé, Betua, Bafoussam, and many more different places. So we are waiting on you as you contact. The books are very, very cheap and affordable, so you just contact us. Let's look at the next question. So the next question reads, we are given the set A, B, and this set epsilon, you can call it that way, defined as A equals has elements 1, 2, 5, and 7. B has elements 2, 3, 6, and 7, while the universal set has elements from 1 to 10. Now find A complement. What's the meaning of A complement? A complement just means elements outside the set A. So I'm going to use my curling brackets. So with A, I already have 1, 2. All right, so 3 is not there. 3, 4 as well. What about 5? No, I cannot take 5. 5 is in set A. I'll take 6. 7 is already there. I'll not take 7. I'll take 8. 9 is not there. I'll take 9. And I'll take 10. So this is A complement. A complement or A prime. So they can write A like to the power C or A to the power 1. That's A complement or A prime. Now to list the elements of A intersection B, what are the common elements? We have 2, And which other elements? We have 2, which is common, and 7. So A intersection B, you must write it in curling brackets like this, or you call them braces. So we have 2 and 7. So those are the elements of A intersection B. So the first one should be 2 marks, the second one 2 marks, the last one now will be 2 marks. Now what's the meaning of NB? NB means the number of elements in set B. So you just have to count how many elements are in set B. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is not a set. You just have to count and write 4 because it's not a set, okay? So this will equally be 2 marks. So you gain your full 6 marks for these questions. Guys, I advise you that as you watch through this paper, you should also be solving with me, because mathematics, physics, and economics, and most of these other subjects are drill and practice subjects. You don't just read them. You have to do some practice by solving. When you solve, it sticks. So that if you solve and you're stuck somewhere, you see that there is something that you have not understood. But by just watching like this, at the end of the day, you are not different from somebody who does not solve anything. So my advice to you, as well as I always give in all my videos, is solve as many past papers as possible, even the questions in your textbooks and the ones the teachers give in class, because the GCE does not come from space. It comes from all of these questions which are given to you in assignments, the day you dodge class and all those things. That's where the GCE comes from. Your teachers are the ones who send the questions. So most of the questions that you have done in class, you see them in the exam. Some things you don't need to solve them because you have already done them in class. You just need to remember what the answer you had and copy and paste it. As easy as ABC. All right, so now we have this truth table for P and Q. So to complete this truth table is just in marks now. So they want us to give the negation of P. So when P is true, so the negation is false, right? Negation is always the opposite, right? Now here it is true again, false. Here it is false, we take the negation, it will be true. Here it is false, true. And just by doing this, you have your 2 marks. 2 marks just for this. Now the negation of P or Q. So the negation of P or Q. So we are working now with this negation of P or Q. And we know that the or statement is true when one is true or both are true. It's only false when both are false. So with this, Q is true, the negation of P is false. So one is true, right? So with these two like this, you can see that one is true. As long as one is true, this one will be true. Here, both are false. So it's only false when both are false. So here is going to be false. Here, both are true, so it's true. This one is false and this is true, so it is true. And you have your full 5 marks. Full 5 marks. You are not negotiating anybody. They'll give you 5 marks. And you now see that when you keep on solving many questions as much as possible, you end up, you may even have the full marks for the exams. Sometimes most of you neglect paper 1, which carries a lot of marks, and you end up losing those marks and it brings you down. So I advise that you go through the paper 1 of this paper which you have already answered, and then you look at paper 2 as well, watch them. For these past papers, you can get to our website and you download them from there, www.gcemathspanel.blogspot.com, or you just type www.gcepanel.com and you get past papers and notes, and you can join us for our live classes there. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because when you subscribe, you are going to have all the updates. So to subscribe to this channel, just go to any of our videos where you see this small circle here. What you are going to do is you just click on this what is pointing down here. When you click on it, a pop-up will appear. So you see this pop-up appearing. So the next step now, when that pop-up appears, please like the video. Like it first. After you like it, you now scroll down. When you scroll down, you will see our website here. You can click to our website and then you go, you get this paper and get corrections and other stuff. You keep on scrolling. When you keep on scrolling, you will get to something like this. You scroll until you see subscribe. You now subscribe. If you have not clicked on the like, you click on like. You like the video and then you share it with any of your WhatsApp groups in which you find yourself. Guys, please, this is what motivates us to make more videos for you. If you want to see many videos as the days go by, just keep on subscribing to our channel, liking our videos and sharing them. And then you always give your comment. I will like the correction of this paper. I will like the correction of this one. Join us on WhatsApp, and you can always join, be with us for revision classes which are free, or if you want the paid class, you indicate, and a lot of material. will prepare you fully for the GCE. Now, question 4, the functions f and g are defined as f is such that x is mapped onto x plus 1 and g is such that x is mapped onto x squared. Find g of -2. So this one is direct, right? G of -2, we just go to the function g, we substitute x by -2. So -2 squared. What will be -2 squared? So when you square any number, any real number, the result is a positive number. So negative squared will be positive and 2 squared is 4. So the result of this is +4. Or you can write it as -2 times -2. Negative times negative is positive and then 2 times 2, 4. Now find f inverse of 1. To find f inverse of 1, we first need f inverse of x. So how do we get f inverse of x? To get f inverse of x, this is a one-step function, right? So the inverse function will just be, since this function here is x plus 1, the inverse function will be x minus 1. Or you can use the other methods that your teachers have shown you in class. Now the second step now is to look for f inverse of 1. So we look for f inverse of 1. Okay. So our f inverse of 1 now, excuse me, f inverse of 1, not x. So our f inverse of 1 will be equal to, we now substitute x by 1. So this one x here now will be 1. So 1 minus 1. What will that give us? 0. So f inverse of 1 will be equal to 0. So that is what we have. Then now for C, we have 2 marks, and then for C, 2 marks. Find the composite function g of f of x. So this composite function, in the function g, we are going to substitute x by f of x, right? So we are going to have our g of f of x as follows. So in this function g, let me just clean this, please. All right, I'm just trying to demonstrate something. So have g of what? G of f of x. But what is our f of x? G of x plus 1. So this will be g of x plus 1. So I've replaced that f of x by its value, which is x plus 1. Can you see that? So now in the function g, I'll continue. But you know the function g is x squared. So in this function g, since I've replaced x by x plus 1, I'll also replace this x in this x squared by x plus 1 squared. So this will be x plus 1, all what? All squared. So when we square it, this is what we are going to have. You can leave it here like this, but if you are sure that you can expand and have the correct answer, when you expand this, you open out the brackets, you have x squared. It's always good to complete your work. Plus 2x plus what? Plus 1. When you expand this, you're going to have x squared plus 2x plus 1. Please, you make sure that you solve this again. If you have any question, you can get to us on WhatsApp. You join our groups online, go to our website. If you're ordinary level, you go to the website, click on menu. When you go to menu, you see O level, A level, ITC, ATC. Click on O level. When you go to under O level, you see a certain button there called join. And you click on that join, you'll be able to join either our class or a WhatsApp group. So when you click on that button, you click on WhatsApp group and you will join the group immediately. You can always ask your questions from there, or you use the button on this website and you contact us directly. Now question 5 reads, the floor of a rectangular room measures 600 centimeters by 450 centimeters wide. That's the length by the width. So it's covered with square tiles of dimensions 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. So find the number of tiles used to cover this floor. So how can we get the number of tiles that we can use to cover this floor? To get the number of tiles to cover this floor, we first of all need the area of one tile. What is the area of one tile? Then we equally need the total surface area of this floor. Now the number of tiles that will be used should be then the area of the room divided by the area of one tile. So that's how we are going to proceed. So first of all, we start by looking for the area of room. What will be the area of the room? So the area of the room will be equal to length of room times the width of the room. Okay, so what will this give us? So the area of the room will be equal to the length of the room times the width. So what's the length of the room? We have 600. And what is the width? The width of this room is 450. We are going very slow because students have said we should go slow so that they get it very well. So on your calculator, what is 600 times 450? So we have 600 times 450. Okay, 450. And that will give us 270,000. 270,000 cm squared or cm cube. Of course, cm squared. Okay, why? Because we are talking of area, not volume. So this gives us cm squared. Now, what is the area of a tile? So I can just call it a tile. What's the area of one tile? We are being told that the tile has dimensions 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters, right? So the area of a tile will be 15 centimeters times what? Times 15 centimeters. So what will this give us? This will give us 225 centimeters squared, or squared centimeters to be well said. Now we know the area of the room and we know the area of one tile. So what will be the number of tiles? How do you get the number of tiles? So the number of tiles will be equal to area of room divided by area of one tile. So I'll call it just a room. Area of room divided by area of one tile. So this will be equal to, what's the area of the room? 27,000 divided by, please punch and give us the answers, divided by 225. Now what will happen is that if we have a number that is not the whole number, what do we do? Of course, we have to round it up. So the number of tiles will just be equal to 27,000. Now all of this divided by 225, and that will give us 1,200 tiles. So we have 1,200 tiles. So number of tiles will be 1,200 tiles. So now, given that each packet has 20 tiles, calculate the number of packets used. Like these packets are like cartons, right? So small cartons. So one carton has 20 tiles. Now, these 1,200 cartons will fill how many tiles? So the number of packets needed will just be equal to 1,200 divided by what? Divided by 20. And what is 1,200 divided by 20? This will give us 60, right? So the number of packets will be 60 packets. And this, you earn your full marks. Now, the next question, question 6. Figure 1 is a circle passing through A, BP and a tangent PT. Okay. Now, given that APT is 40 degrees. Sorry, 40 degrees. This is an angle 40 degrees. And AB is AB. AB is 7 centimeters and AT is 5 centimeters. Find the angle marked theta. So we have to find the angle theta. Now, how do we get the angle theta? The angle theta is already there, right? So from here, the angle theta is equal to 40 degrees. Because from circle theorems, as you already know from circle theorems, this angle here, since this is a tangent, this 40 degrees is equal to this angle at this position. Okay? It's equal to this angle at this position. And if we extend this tangent like this, then this other angle here will be equal to this one. So that's how the circle theorems are. Okay? This angle here is equal to this one. If you extend this tangent, this other angle here should be equal to this other one here. And consider this one maintains its value. Now, to calculate the value of y, Now for y, we know that y squared, all right, so pt squared, that is pt times pt, should be equal to this long length from b to t. From b to c is 7 plus 5 centimeters, which is 12 centimeters. That should be 12 times, now this distance from now from a to t, right? From a to c now times 5. Okay, so that is how it is. And then we see what we get. So y squared should be equal to 12 times 5, which is 60. And y will be equal to the square root of 60. The square root of 60. And what will that give us? So on your calculator, the square root of 60 will be equal to 7.45 to the 2 decimal places. So y will be 7.45, and the units are in centimeters. So we take 7.45 centimeters. So that's what you have for that. Now, don't forget to subscribe, to leave your comments, and to share this video. Please watch it to the end. Question 7. Given the points A and B have coordinates 1, 2, and B 3, 6, find the coordinates of the midpoint M of AB. So the midpoint M is given by, how do we get the midpoint? The average of the respective coordinates, right? So the x value here plus the x value here. So 1 plus 3, all that on 2. We do the same thing for the y values. So comma, you have 2 plus 6, all that on 2. So 2 plus 6, which is 8, all that on 2. And so finally, we'll have the midpoint of these points to be, so this will give us, just give us M into, what are the coordinates of M? 2, right? 2, 4. So those are the coordinates of M, 2, 4. Now the B part of the equation, to find the gradient of the line segment AB. So how do we find gradient? Gradient M is equal to change in Y divided by change in X. And if we start with the point B, then we must follow it. Okay, so this will give us change in Y, say Y2 minus Y1. So we have 6 minus 2, 6 minus 2 divided by change in X, where we started with, going in there, 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1. You can use 2 minus 6 over 1 minus 3. You have the same answer, okay, because it's the same line. So this will give us 4 over 2. And what is 4 divided by 2? That's equal to 2. So the gradient of this is 2. Now the gradient of the line perpendicular to AB. So the gradient of any line that is perpendicular to another line, let's call it MN, whether it's normal or MT, will just be equal to -1 divided by the gradient of the other line. So the gradient of that line will be -1 on M, which is -1 on 2, which is -1/2. So this is the gradient of a line that is perpendicular to this one. Okay. Now we know that section A is to be answered in 1 hour, right? So let's go to question 8. Please make sure that you first of all subscribe as you continue to watch this video. If you don't subscribe, you are not encouraging us to make more videos, and you should not expect that the video should be there when you yourself have not subscribed. So to do that, just come to this arrow here under any of our videos, click on that. This pop-up will appear. You like our video, then you scroll down, you see the website, you continue to scroll down until you see subscribe. You now click on subscribe, then you share with other WhatsApp groups, and you click on like. Thank you so much for liking, watching our videos, subscribing, and sharing them, and we hope that you leave your comments as well. Question 8. If you're interested in having the complete solutions from 2010 to 2022, please contact us using the number on screen on direct call, or contact us on WhatsApp using any of the 2 numbers on our website, and we can supply the books to you and your students, or supply to you individually from any of the towns in which you find yourself: Baminda, Buea, Douala, Yaoundé, Betua, Bafoussam, and so on, and we can always supply to you. Now, given that y varies directly as x squared and x equals 1 when y equals 3, form an equation in x and y. Okay, so this is variation, and you are being told that y varies directly as x squared. So this is how we write it, right? We are now going to replace this varies directly with a constant. So write it as y is equal to a constant times x squared. After writing this, we need to look for the value of this constant. Okay, because it says we should form an equation in x and y. There's no saying xk and y or in xt and y. So from here now we are being told that when x is 1, y is 3. So here we'll say 3 because y is 3, our y becomes 3, should be equal to our k times x squared, but our x is now 1, right? X is 1, so times 1 squared. 1 squared is 1, right? So from here we can see very well that k is equal to 1 because we have 3 to be equal to k, and k is equal to 3. But have we formed the equation? No, not yet. So our equation will now be y is equal to 3x squared. So that's the equation now in terms of x and y. Now from this equation in terms of x and y, the b part says that find the value of y when x is 4. So when x is equal to 4, our y will be equal to 3 into what? Into 4 all squared. And what is 4 squared? 4 squared is not 4 times 2. It's 4 times 4. Because some people say 4 squared, they'll just say 4 times 2, which is 8. And they'll have a wrong answer. So this will give us 3 into 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3, 48. So the value of y is 48. And you see, you can see a cheap 6 marks here for free 6 marks, as I call it. Cheap. No stress. But if you have been answering questions from day one, now you don't have to wait until the GCE start answering questions. Before the GCE, you are already prepared for all of these things. So it's not a matter of you wait until the last time. The last time you'll be having brain fatigue, you'll be having congestion, like force the whole everybody wants to enter the market at the same time. And of course, you know what will happen. Now, given the equation A is equal to root CR, all that on 3, express R in terms of A and C. So this is making something the subject of the formula, right? So we want to make with R the subject of the formula, right? Good. So first of all here, we'll start by cross multiplying. This one is the same as A over 1. So root CR times 1 is root CR, which is equal to A times 3 is 3A. Next step, what's the same from having this R is this root sign. So we square both sides. When you square both sides, the left hand side will just be a CR will be equal to, when you square the right hand side, you have 9A squared. You square both sides, you have 9A squared. Because 3 squared is 9 and A squared is A squared. While when you square the root of anything, the root sign just disappears. Now the last thing that's disturbing us from having this R here is this C. So we now divide both sides by C. We divide both sides by C, we'll be left with R to be equal to 9A squared divided by what? Divided by C. Now they say we should find the value of R when A is 2 and C is 3. So when A is 2 and C is 3, R will just be equal to 9 into A squared. That is 2 squared now. 2 squared. All that on C, which is 3. All this on 3. So 3 here, 1. 3 here how many times? 3 here 3 times. Now 2 squared is 4 times 3, 12. So the answer is 12. So that gives us 12. Okay. Try to solve as many questions as possible. Visit our website to get past papers in all subjects. There is now the GCE math the GCE panel, no longer the GCE math panel. So we focus now on everything, not just on mathematics. Now question 10. Given that x minus 1 is a factor of f of x equals x squared plus qx minus 3, find the value of q. Now, if x minus 1 is a factor, what does that tell us? So you start by saying that you start by equating x minus 1 to 0. X minus 1 equals 0. And from here, what will be the value of x? From here, the value of x will be equal to 1, right? So x will be equal to 1. So it therefore means that since x minus 1 is a factor, the remainder should be 0. And therefore, when we look up for f of 1, the result should be equal to 0. So f of 1 should be equal to 0. Okay. So now that f of 1 is equal to 0, so this implies we are going to have 1 squared. I like to always put it in brackets like this, because if it's a negative, some people forget and then they'll work and have some wrong answers. So 1 squared plus q into 1 minus 3. This should be equal to what? This should be equal to 0. Now 1 squared is 1 plus q times 1. Q times 1 is q. Minus 3. This should be equal to 0. Right? Alright, so now we are left on the left hand side, left with q. We carry minus 3 to the right hand side, it becomes plus 3. So we now have 3 minus 1. And what's 3 minus 1? 3 minus 1 is 2, right? So our q is equal to 2. That's the value of q. Then after, hence, solve the equation or solve for f of x equals 0. Solve f of x equals 0. Hence means whenever they say hence, anyway, before that, the B part says that with the value of q in A, factorize f of x. So let's factorize f of x. We have x squared, right? X squared plus 2x minus 3. Minus 3. And how do we factorize this? So what are the factors of 2 that when we multiply, we will have minus 3, and when we add them, we'll have plus 2. Anyway, what are the factors of AC? Our A here is 1, our C is minus 3. So what are the factors of minus 3 that when we multiply, we'll have minus 3, and when we add, we'll have 2. So those factors are, so we have x squared. What are those factors? Those factors should be plus 3 and minus 1. Plus 3 and minus 1. The factors are plus 3 and minus 1. So our factors here will be x squared minus 1x plus 3x minus 3. So those are those factors, right? So we use those factors and we break down just this middle term into those factors. So we now replace this plus 2x by minus 1x plus 3x. Normally, minus 1x plus 3x is plus 2x, right? So now we group this and then we continue. So for this first part, so for this first one, we see that if you have to group them, this is what we are going to have, or we pair them as you call it. We pair this first one, pair the second one. Okay. So for the first one, the highest common factor is x. Now, x squared divided by x is x, and minus 1x divided by x is minus 1. That's the first group. For the second one, now this plus sign is maintained here. For 3x and minus 3, the highest common factor is 3. So we factor it out. Open our brackets now. Plus 3x divided by plus 3 is x. And minus 3 divided by plus 3 is minus 1. Now, at this step, if what you have in these two brackets are not the same, it means that there's a problem with your factorization. X minus 1 inside this first bracket, x minus 1 in the second bracket, they must be the same. If they're not the same, you have a problem with your factorization, or your factors were not correctly chosen. You can look at our videos on quadratics. We have explained this there very well. Just go to our channel and see a short video on quadratic factorization. Now that these two factors are the same, we will just copy out 1. That's x minus 1. Then what has not been used, we put in another bracket. So this x plus 3 we put in another bracket. So we now have x plus 3, which we are putting in another bracket. So that's it. Now the C part says hence. Hence means you must use the previous answer that you have to continue. If they say hence or otherwise, it means you have a choice. If you like, you use it and continue. If you like, use another method. But they say hence, it means if you use another method here, they'll mark it wrong. Hence means you must use this previous answer to continue. Or you must use something in the previous working to continue. So hence solve for x in f of x equals 0. So what does this imply? This just implies that since our f of x, we have already factorized it, we just say that x minus 1 times what? Times x plus 3 is equal to 0. This is the hence. This is the meaning of the hence here. Hence, take your previous answer and continue. So this implies, so from here we know that either x minus 1 is equal to 0, x minus 1 equals 0, or what happens? Or x plus 3 is equal to 0. That's the second factor. And from here now, what will be the values of x? From here, x will be equal to 1, or x will be equal to negative 3. So these are the values of x. I like this question. So these are the values of x. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, okay? And to share these videos to the different study groups in which you find yourselves, and encourage people to subscribe and watch. And another thing, some of our videos, you cannot watch them if you have not subscribed, because we have forced a constraint so that only those who have subscribed can be able to watch it. So that is it. We are sorry about that, but that's what we have to do. Now the next question reads, given that the bearing of a ship from P from a port Q is 8 degrees, all right, that's supposed to be 80 degrees. Sketch a diagram to illustrate the movement. So given that the bearing of a ship P from a port Q is 8 degrees. Okay, so first of all, to do any of these sketches, you have to put your knot somewhere. Okay, but this one is too big. Let me make it to be small. Okay, so this is my knot that I've placed. So this is knot. Bearings are measured clockwise, right? So at this knot here, this is the port Q. This is the port. Now the bearing of a ship from this port Q is 80 degrees. Remember, this is 90 degrees. Now this angle will be 90 degrees. So that ship is approximately like this. Yes, this is the 80 degrees. 80 degrees, like that. Okay, so this is where the ship is P. So that's the sketch. Now, what is the bearing of Q from P? Now they want us to measure the bearing now of this point Q from P. To get this bearing, first of all, make these lines like this. Okay, continue with these lines. Now this small angle that is left here is 10 degrees to make this one 90 degrees, right? Okay, now they want us to get the bearing of Q from the point P. So now they want us to work from the point P. So from the point P, we have to make our small knot. Our knot here. And bearings are measured clockwise. So I'm going to measure this the bearing like that until it comes and touches this line here. Okay. Now this small angle here is also 10 degrees. 10 degrees. So from here we can see now that, and this is angle 90. As you can see, this is 90. So this is 90 degrees plus 10 degrees. How many degrees? 100 degrees, right? Now we know that out of this circle like this should give us 360 degrees. But now this bearing is this angle. So this angle is 360 degrees minus 100 degrees. So that bearing should be 360 degrees minus what? Minus 10 degrees, minus that 10 degrees that you can see there. And then minus the 90 degrees, because that's the angle that is left. And what does that give us? So this bearing should be equal to 360 degrees minus 100 degrees is 260 degrees. So that's the bearing of Q from P. Yes, this one will be tricky for some students. You can go through the video again if you don't understand this one, or leave your message on WhatsApp. Okay. Yeah. Question 12. Two matrices M and N are such that M equals 3, 1, 2, 5 and N equals A minus 1, 1, 2, B plus 3. Find the values of A and B given that the matrices M and M are equal. So if these two matrices are equal, it means that this value at this position, which corresponds to this one here, must be the same. So this tells us that A minus 1 should be equal to 3. And from here, what's the value of A? So this implies that the value of A should be equal to 3 plus 1 now. Because when this minus 1 crosses, it becomes plus 1. So that gives us 3 plus 1, which is 4. And then similarly, this position here where we have 5 should correspond with this one. So from there equally, our b plus 3 should be equal to what value? B plus 3 should be equal to 5. So what does this imply? So this implies that B should be equal to 5 minus 3, which is 2. Now they want us to find the transpose of M. So M transpose, we get the transpose of M by just swapping rows for columns. So the transpose of M written as MT will be equal to, for M, row 1 is 3, 1. So this row 1 becomes column 1, 3, 1. And then row 2 is 2, 5. It becomes column 2, 2, 5. Cheap things. So this is how somebody just earned 6 marks without doing anything. So that is it for this question. Question 13. If you need the corrections from 2010 to 2022, guys, please contact us on WhatsApp, and whatever town you find yourself, we are going to send you a copy of the correction. Okay, it's affordable. If you want to supply to many students, you contact us with the business details. Given that the first term of an arithmetic progression is 3 and the fifth term is 19, determine the common difference. Now the first term is A, right? So our first term is A, which is 3. Then the fifth term, how do we get the fifth term? The fifth term is A plus 4 times the common difference now. The fifth term is the first term plus 4 times the common difference, plus 4d. And we are being told that this fifth term is equal to 19. This is equal to 19. So now they want us to find the common difference. So we have two equations here to solve. Call this one equation 1 and equation 2. So if you have to take equation 2 minus equation 1, we will have A plus 4d minus A. That will just be 4d. That will be 4d. It should be equal to 19 minus 3, which is 16. We divide both sides by 4. It will imply that our common difference is equal to 4. So common difference is equal to 4. You can make many more steps. Find the first two terms of the AP. So the first term, T1, is equal to 3, right? Now the second term, T2, is equal to A plus D now. A plus the common difference. So A plus D. And this will give us 3 plus 4. What's 3 plus 4? 3 plus 4 is 7. The second term is 7. And then now to find the sum of the first 10 terms, S10 for an arithmetic progression. What's the formula to find the first 10 terms for an arithmetic progression? It should be n over 2, n over 2 into 2 times A plus n minus 1d. But note our n here is 10 now. So let me just write Sn first. We'll look for that. So 2A into n minus 1d times the common difference. So when we simplify this, it will give us our S10 will be equal to 10 over 2, all that over 2 into 2 times A. What's our A? Our A is 3 now. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus n minus 1. Our n is 10. What's 10 minus 1? 9. Times the common difference, which is 4. So that will give us 6 plus 9 into that. When we simplify this, we are going to have 5 into, so this will be equal to 5 into 9 times 4. That's 36. That's 9, 18, 36. Plus 4, 42. And 42 times 5 will be equal to 210. 210. So this is the sum of the first 10 terms of this arithmetic progression. Always make sure that you keep your formula in your head, because in the GCE they will not give you formula booklets for ordinary level, unlike for advanced level that they give the formula booklets. Don't forget to like this video, to subscribe, to share, and to leave your comments. So to subscribe, just go to any of our videos and you'll see this arrow under the title. You just click there. When you click there, a pop-up will appear. You'll see our website. You can also follow other content. Then from there, you now scroll down. When you scroll down, you see a subscribe button. You click on subscribe. And please, after subscribing, please share our video. Click on like. And another important thing you have to do is to click on the notifications bell. There's a small bell that you have to click on when you subscribe. If you don't click on that bell, whenever we upload a video, you might not be immediately notified. So it's good that you subscribe. Subscribe is such that you can be able to watch some of our videos that only subscribers can watch. Thank you so much. If you need a copy of the corrections from 2010 to 2022, please get to us on WhatsApp or contact us directly on call, and we'll be able to send a copy of the book to you with all the corrections, paper 1 and paper 2 from 2010 to 2022, and equally with our 4 super mocks and other few years that have been added to it. And this will really help you so much. See how to answer the questions. Figure 2 is a network ABCD. State the number of nodes. So this is a network. The nodes here, you have the node at A, the node at B, the node at C, the node at Z. So how many nodes are there? There are 4 nodes. You can equally call them vertices, okay? 4 nodes of vertices. How many edges are there? What are edges? Edges just means lines. Edges, arcs, whatever, they are lines. So how many lines are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 edges. Now, the number of odd vertices. An odd vertex is any of these points where you have 3 odd lines there. So these lines are an odd vertex. What about this one? This one is not an odd vertex because you have 2. The number of lines here are 2, so it's an even vertex. What about this one? It's an odd vertex. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this is an even vertex. The other odd vertex is this one. So there are 2 odd vertices. Number of odd vertices, there are only 2. Now, question number 15. A bag contains 3 ripe mangoes and 2 unripe mangoes. 2 mangoes are drawn out of the bag at random, one after the other, without replacement. Find the probability that the first mango is ripe. These type of questions, I may advise you to draw a tree diagram so that you can really see. Okay, so this is the bag. Let me draw it here. This is the bag, and either a mango is ripe or it is not ripe. Let me call it not ripe, R prime. And the thing here is that they are doing this without replacement. The probability that the mango is ripe is 3 over how many mangoes are there before? 5 mangoes now, so 3 over 5. And not ripe is 2 over 5. Now, if you have removed 1 ripe mango and you not put it back, how many ripe mangoes are there? 2, right? 2. And the number of mangoes that will be left altogether now no more be 5, but it will be 4. So the first mango is ripe, that is it. For another ripe mango. Now for the second row, if the first mango is ripe, the number of ripe mangoes that are left is 2, but you have not touched any unripe mangoes, so you still have 2 unripe mangoes. So an unripe mango is still 2, so you still have 2 over 4. Now the sum of any of these dichotomous here must always be equal to 1. So 3 plus on 5 plus 2 on 5 is 1. Here 2 on 4 plus 2 on 4 is 1. Now if the first mango is not ripe, okay, and then the second mango, if the first mango is not ripe, how many ripe mangoes are there? You have not yet touched a ripe mango, right? So we still have 3 ripe mangoes, 3 over 5. Now if the first mango is not ripe, how many unripe mangoes are left? 1 for the second row. So 1 out of how many? 1 out of 4. So now the number of mangoes are 4. Take note of this, 4, not 5. So what's the probability that the first mango is ripe? Now, for the first mango to be ripe, this is what it means. Either the first mango is ripe and the second is not ripe or ripe, whatever. So the probability that the first mango is ripe will just be probability of ripe. And what would this be equal to? This will be 3 on 5 now. This will be 3 on 5. So the probability that the first mango is ripe is 3 on 5. Now we can equally check something here. The probability that the first mango is ripe is given as this. The probability that the first mango is ripe is that either the first mango is ripe and the second is ripe, or the first is ripe and the second is not ripe. But in any case, the truth is that the first mango is ripe. So with this will be equal to, the first is ripe and the second is ripe, it will be 3 on 5 times 2 on 4. So 3 on 5 times 2 on 4, then plus the first is ripe and the second is not ripe. So plus 3 on 5 times 2 again on 4. So what will this give us? This will give us 3 times 2, 6. So we have 6 on 20 plus 6 again on 20. What does this give us? 12 on 20, right? And when you take 12 on 20, you divide, you see that will still give us, divide all through by 4, it still give us 3 on 5. So when they say that only the first mango is ripe, you don't need to follow all this process. It has wasted time, right? We come now to the same answer here. Okay, for the focus on the first mango is ripe, so we just focus on this first draw. This second one will not affect it. Now the probability that both mangoes are ripe, this one is good. Probability of what? Of ripe. Probability that the first is ripe and the second is ripe. So what will this be equal to? This should just be just this first line. This should just be 3 on 5 times what? Times 2 on 4. So what will this be equal to? So this will be equal to 3 times 2, 6 on 20. And that 6 on 20 should be equal to, there's a common factor, 3 on 10. So this is the first of the end of the first part. I've taken it very slow, otherwise I've answered it in 20 to 25 minutes so that it can be well understood. Guys, please, as you're watching these videos, you have to motivate us, subscribe to our channel and invite others to subscribe. Visit our website and get past papers. Join us for revision classes on WhatsApp and on Zoom, on Meet and so on, and Module and many of them. Join us today to make a difference. You have heard the testimonies of others. Stop complaining about data because nothing is completely free. Of course, you'll get this work for free, but of course, you need to activate maybe 100 francs or 200 francs to actually get the knowledge. Without being connected, you cannot get it. So it's not really free because you have to buy data to be connected. So now we are moving to section B, but subscribe and click on the notifications bell before you move on. Subscribe and click on the notifications bell. Okay. Now we move to section B. So after you subscribe, you like our video and you share on WhatsApp, share on Facebook, share on Twitter, share on all other platforms. If you really love this channel and you love the work we are doing, please share this work. If you have already shared some groups, already share again. Jangi groups, family groups, friends groups, even all other sites in which you find yourself, please share these videos there. Now in section B, with 4 questions, if you have to answer all. The first question is, a telephone dealer decides to import 200 smartphones. A telephone dealer decides to import 200 smartphones at a total cost of 8 million francs. She pays 40% of the amount as taxes. Find the total spent on taxes. All right, so let's move on this one now. So A, we are looking at taxes. So for tax, we have how much is spent on tax? 40%. 40% of what? Of this 8 million, right? So that's going to give us 40 divided by 100 times 8 million times 8 million. 1, 2, 3 zeros, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So times 8 million. When we cancel, what are we going to have? 2 zeros here, 2 zeros at the end. So we are going to have 80,000 times 40. Punch on your calculator and give us what you have. 80,000 times 40, so that will give us 80,000 times 40. So we have 3.2 million, okay? So 3,200,000. 3,200,000. And please always make sure that you keep your answer in FCFA. We can just put francs like that, okay? Now, her total expenditure on the phones, okay? So her total expenditure on the phone. So this is tax. Now B, total expenditure. So total. So our total, what would be our total expenditure on the phones? So now in business, when you talk about the total spend on the phones, now for example, you want to import something from Japan or the United States, you actually pay that amount of money. But when it now comes into the country, maybe in the Douala airport there, seaport or wherever, now they ask you to pay tax at the airport. So you have to do an additional expenditure. So the total expenditure now on the phones will now be the cost of the import plus tax. So that will give us 8 million, which is spent, then plus the tax, plus tax of how much? Plus tax of 3.2 million. 3.2 million. So the total of this will give us 3.2 million. Okay. So the total will be equal to 8 million plus 3, that will be 11,200,000. Okay. So the total spend will be 11,200,000. Now see the cost of a phone. So cost of one phone, that will be the cost of one phone will be how much? So this is the total cost for all of these 200 smartphones. So the cost of a phone will be equal to the total cost, that's this 11,200,000 divided by what? 11,200,000 divided by the number of phones that were imported. How many phones? 200. So 11.2 million divided by 200, and this will give us how many? So on the calculator we have 11.2 million divided by 200. So it's 56,000. 56,000. So it means that this person spends up to 56,000 francs for each of the phones. That's the cost for one phone. Now, before D, we are introduced by a paragraph. If she makes a profit of 15% on each phone, find the profit made on each phone. So now this is the cost price. Now the profit. Now the cost of each phone is 56,000 and she makes a profit of 15% on each. So the profit per phone will be equal to 15% of the cost of a phone. Because that's the profit, right? So we have 15 divided by 100 times the cost of one phone. And that will be times 56,000. So when you punch in your calculator, what do you have? 15, that's 0.15 times 56,000. So the profit per phone is 8,400. Wow, 8,400 francs. Okay. Now E, the selling price of the phones. Now how do we get selling price? Now the selling price of one phone, the selling price of one phone, so the selling price of one will be equal to the cost price plus profit. Okay, be 56,000 plus 8,400. So plus 8,400. And this will give us 56 plus 8, that is 56,000 plus 8,400. So we have 8,400 plus 56,000. So this will be equal to 64,400, right? 64,400. Now there is something in this question that it may be a trap for us. The question said the total selling price of the phone. So what will be the total selling price? So the total selling price will be equal to total selling price will be equal to this selling price of one phone times the 200 phones. So we have 64,400 for one phone times the total number of phones. How many phones are there altogether? Okay, 64,400. Thank you for the correction. 64,400. Yes, for those who are following this class online as we are teaching now, times 200, though you cannot hear their voices, times 200. So what does this give us? So times 200, 64,400 times 200. So that gives us 12,880,000. 12,880,000 francs for all of these phones. So this is what we have for the total selling price of all of these phones in FCFA. Now the B part of the question wants us to solve the simultaneous equation. So now for this B part of this question, they want us to solve the equation 2p minus 3q is equal to 12 and 3p plus q is equal to 7. Now this is a pair of simultaneous equation, right? And we can solve this directly by multiplying equation 1 by the equation of p in equation 2 and equation 2 by the equation of p in equation 1. You can do it like that, but I can just decide to multiply equation 2 by 3 so that I will not have to multiply equation 1 by anything. So I'll have my 2p minus q minus 3q to be equal to 12. Then equation 2, I'm going to multiply it by 3. I leave it this one like this. So I'll have 9p plus 3q now to be equal to 3 times 7. What does that give us? That gives us 21, right? If we now add the two equations, we add them, equation 1 plus equation 2, we will have 11p's to be equal to minus 3q plus 3q is equal to 0, right? So this will be equal to 33 rather. So this will be equal to 33. And from here, it implies that to divide both sides by 11, p will be equal to what? P will be equal to 3. So now, if p is equal to 3, I can now substitute in any of the equations. I'll use equation 2. So I substitute in equation 2. Part of p in equation 2. I'll have 3 into 3 plus q to be equal to 7. Okay? To be equal to 7. So from here now, our q will be equal to, what will be the value of q? Q will be equal to 7 minus 9. 7 minus 9. And what is 7 minus 9? 7 minus 9 is negative 2. So that's the value of Q. And with all of this solving like this, you earn your 15 marks. No stress. Can see that is very easy and straight to the point, right? So you earn your 15 marks. No stress. Now let's look at question 2. So with question 2, we are being told that using a scale of 2 centimeters for 1 unit on the x-axis, instructions are very important. 2 centimeters for 1 unit on the x-axis and 1 centimeter for 1 unit on the y-axis. This instruction we must follow. Draw the graph of y equals x squared minus 3x minus 4 from negative 2 to 5. On the same graph paper, draw the line y equals 2x minus 4, Okay, so now let's look at this question. For us to sketch this curve, the first thing we have to do is to make a table of values for x and y, and this is how we have to do it. So we have x, the values of x from negative 2 to 5, because the boundaries are included, as you can see. Boundaries are included from negative 2 to 5. You can see the boundaries are included to 5. Now we now take this quadratic equation and break it into 3 terms. So we have x squared. This is the x squared here. The next term is negative 3x. This is a negative 3x. The next term is negative 4. This is a negative 4. So we split it up like this and put on the table. You can now start entering these values. Okay, now let's enter the values. For each of these x values, you square them. So negative 2 squared, that is 4. Minus 1 squared is 1. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. Now, for each of these terms now, we multiply by negative 3. So negative 3 times negative 2 is plus 6. Negative 3 times negative 1 is plus 3. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Now, this last term is a constant, so we just add it all through. So we have negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. We just add it up to the end, negative 4 all through. Now, these other parts have been made in yellow because sometimes when students are adding, maybe because of low voltage or hunger or what, I don't know, they now end up adding what is on these yellow lines. So what's on this X column, row rather, you don't add it. What's on this Y row, you don't add it as well. Okay, so take note of that. All right, so now, after doing this, we now add 4 plus 6, 10 minus 4, 6. 1 plus 3, 4 minus 4, 0. 0 plus 0 minus 4, negative 4. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. 4 minus 6, negative 2 minus 4, negative 6. 9 minus 9, 0 minus 4, negative 4. 16 minus 12 is 4 minus 4, 0. 25 minus 15 is 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. So these are the table of values for x and y which we have. After this table of values of x and y now, we can now move on to the curve and then we follow these instructions. Okay. Now we take our graph paper. These are the table. This is the table for x and y. I've copied out the values. Now we get our graph paper. That's it. We start by sketching the axis. If you look at this table here, the x values range from negative 2 to 5. And the y from the lowest y value is negative 6. The highest y value is plus 6. So I'm going to make it to be some sort of equal. Half up, half down. And then this one, since I have more positive x values, I have just a smaller space for these the negative x values. Now the scale for the x-axis is 2 centimeters for 1 unit. It means that this is the point 0. I skip 1, 2. This is 1. 1, 2. This is 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's 2 centimeters for 1 unit on the x-axis. That's the instruction. Then now on the y-axis, they said 1 centimeter for 1 unit. Okay, it means I'm not skipping anything. And this is what we have for the y-axis. Okay, this is what we have for the y-axis. Now we start sketching these points that we already have on this table at the top right. When x is negative 2, y is 6. When x is negative 2, y is 6. So that's negative 2 and 6. That's the point there. When x is negative 1 is 0, y is 0. X negative 1, y is 0. When x is 0, y is negative 4. When x is 0, y is negative 4. When x is 1, y is negative 6. Y is 1, x negative 6. When x is 2, it's still negative 6. 2 and negative 6. When it's 3, it's negative 4. 3 and negative 4. When it's 4, we have 0. When it's 4, we have 0. When it's 5, we have 6. Okay? 5 and 6. That's what we have. So after plotting all these points, you can use a broomstick to now link the points. Okay? But since I'm doing this on the online, let me just link it like this. So we can just use a smooth curve. Make sure that you try not to double. You start it to come down. Don't use a ruler. Don't use a ruler. Yes, please don't use a ruler. So this is what we have now for this curve. Okay? So this is the graph of y equals f of x. Now the B part says that B, so this is for A. Now for B, we are being told that using your graph, the instruction is that we have to use our graph to answer all the remaining parts. Look at it. Using your graph, You can see now B, C, and Z. So we're using our graph to answer B, C, and Z. So for B, state the values of x for which y equals x squared minus 3x plus 3 cuts the x-axis. Okay, what are those values? These are the values here now. So it cuts when x is equal to 4, x is equal to 4, and it also cuts again here when x is equal to negative 1. Also cuts here when x is equal to negative 1. X equals negative 1. So for my B, I have x equals negative 1 and I have x equals 4. That's the B part. Now for C, state the minimum value of this curve. Y equals that. The minimum value is the minimum value of y. So the minimum value is approximately, let's say, is 6 points. Each of these squares is 0.2 now. So negative 6.4. So C, my y mean is negative. This is the point here, this point, around this point here, the y value. Minimum value is the y value. So if you read it here, it's going to be negative 6.4. If you have 6.2, 6.5, is the same issue, they'll give the same mark. There's always a range. So negative 6.4. But if something that is very big, they'll not give you the mark. Then D, they said you should solve the equation x squared minus 5x equals 0. They said using your graph. So I cannot go and draw another graph, otherwise they'll not give me the mark. So what I have to do is I have to see how I can modify this equation to now look like this one. Okay, so now the original equation that we have here is x squared minus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. So I have to work in such a way now that I'm going to have this other line. Now for me, I just need to draw a line, and for me to get that line, what I'm going to do is this. This is a shortcut I always give my students in Form 5. So I have to draw a line because I have to use the same curve, right? So that line will be given by y is equal to the initial curve that was given, this x squared minus 3x minus 4. So it's x squared, that's the line I'm going to sketch, okay? X squared minus 3x minus 4. So I'm going to use this line minus the new one now that they have given. So minus, what's the new one? X squared minus 5x. I want to look for the line that I have to sketch, minus 5x. So when we subtract this, what are we going to have? Now x squared minus x squared is 0. Minus 3x minus minus 5x is 2x. Now minus 4 minus nothing, right? So just minus 4. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch this line y is equal to 2x minus 4. So I can just make a table of values here now for x and y. So for x and y, and I sketch this line. So we'll just take some few points. When x is 0, y is negative 4. When y is now 0, x will be 2, right? So when y is now 0, x will be 2. Let me take one more point so that I should not make a mistake. Now if x is 1, 2 times 1 is 2 minus that, y will be minus 2. So I'm going to use this point now to sketch on this curve. I have 0 and negative 4. Okay, it's already passing here. This is it. 0 and negative 4. The point is already here, right? Let me use something else. So I have this point 0 and negative 4. Then I have 2 and 0. When x is 2, this other one is 0. Then equally I have 1 and negative 2. 1 and negative 2. So this is the line that I'm going to draw with a ruler. This one that is a line, use a ruler, okay? So this is the line. Okay. So I'll keep on moving until I get to the point where it touches this other one. And you can see that they meet at this point, right? So this is the point here when x is equal to 5. So I have x to be equal to 5. So my solution is x equals 5. Okay, there's no space, I'm just writing it here. And then you equally have x is equal to what value? X is equal to 0. X is equal to 0. And you can see that this solution matches because if you solve this equation directly, the values of x will be 0 and 5. So this is all about this one. Okay. So if you do it directly, you see that equally it is actually 0 and 5. So this is how we get the solutions. Okay. So here x is equal to 5. You can write it on the curve there. And always make sure on your graph paper you write the equation number. And here x is equal to 0. Here x is equal to 0. Now let's take the next question. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, to leave your comments and to share this video. Most of our videos in future or the other videos that are there, you cannot be able to watch them if you have not subscribed. And we beg on you, when you subscribe, you like the video and you share the video also to friends. Always leave your comments and then you click on the notifications bell so that whenever we upload a video, you will be notified immediately. Guys, don't forget to share, to like, to share, and to leave your comments. Please, a comment will help us to go a long way. What do you think? What don't you think? Or what do you propose we should do? Your comments are very important. Now, question 3. The marks obtained by 30 students in the mathematics examination are shown on the table below. Draw up a cumulative distribution table for the scores. Then they now start from the distribution table. Look at the instruction. From that table, all these other instructions follow from that table. From that table, find the mode. From that table, find the measure. From that table, find the mean. From that table, find the probability. Okay. So let's look at this question. Then the B part in this figure 3, x is the midpoint of AB and y is the midpoint of BC. Given that AB is the vector A and AC is the vector that, find in terms of A and B the vectors AX and CY. So let's look at this question. So this is the frequency distribution table here. Now they want us to draw, this is the table rather, they want us to now draw a frequency distribution table for this course. So this is our table here. You have the scores. The scores range from 1 to 10, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look at it very well, that 6 is not there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. And since there are 30 students, it means that the sum of all the frequencies will be 30. Now, let me show you what you will do in an exam when you are filling this table. So what do we start? We start with 1. How many ones are there? This is 1. 1. Okay, just 1. Then now, for 2s, how many 2s are there? I'm going to tick now for 2. 1. 1. All right, just 1. Then 3. How many 3s are there? Let me circle this one. 1, 2, line by line, okay? 3, 4, 5. All right, just 5 of them. 5 of them. Then how many 4s? For 4s, I can use a triangle. 1, 2, 3. How many 4s are there? Just 3. Then for 5, how many 5s are there? For 5s, let me just put a line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, there are 5 of them. 5 of them. Then for 7, how many of them? I'm going to use a horizontal line for 7. 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, there's 6 of them. Then for 8, you can use caps for 8 now. All right, let me use X for 8. 1, 2. How many of them are there? Just 2. Then for 9, we have 1, 2, 3. We have just 3. Then for 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. So for 10, there are 4. The last one I can leave it like that. Now we sum all of this and see if it's going to give us 30. 1 plus 1, 2, plus 5, 7, plus 3, 10, plus 5, 15, plus 6, 21, plus 2, 23, plus 3, 26, plus 4, 30. All right, so this gives us 30. Now we can state the mode from this table, right? So what's the mode? The mode is that statistic, that X value that has the highest frequency. So this one should be the mode, right? So our mode, the mode is equal to, what's the mode? The mode is not 6, the mode is 7 because 7 occurs the highest number of times. Now the median. Since there are 30 scores, we may have to arrange them from the smallest to the biggest to get the median. And since there are 30, you have 15 on the left, 15 on the right, the median should be the average of the 15th position and the 16th position. So let's use the frequency until we get to 15 and 16. So 1, we are still at 1, plus 1, 2, we are still here, plus 5, 7, we have not reached 15, plus 3, 10, we have not reached 15, plus 5, 15. So the 15 score is 5. Okay, so the 15 score is 5. So that's the 15 score, which is 5. And what is the 16 score? The 16 score should be the next one now, which is 7 divided by 2. So, all right, 7 rather. Thank you for the correction. 7 divided by 2. 7 divided by 2. So this is going to give us what? This is going to give us 6. Now, to get the median, this is what we have to do. Or can just be counting. All right, until we get to 15, right? So we arrange them. So with the median, you are supposed to have 15 scores on the left, 15 on the right. If I use cumulative frequency, for example, let me use cumulative frequency here. Cumulative frequency, this is 1 plus 1, 2 plus 5, 7 plus 3, 10 plus 5, 15. So the 15 score is 5, as you can see, right? Then the next score now should be 7. So the median should be the 15 score plus the 16 score divided by 2. Yes, because if you look at the median, you have 15 scores to the right and 15 to the left. So the median has to be the average of the 15th and the 16th. So this number 16, 17, all of that. So that's how we get the median. You can equally look at notes online for median and you see what we have done there and you understand better. You can always leave your questions in our WhatsApp group or join us for these preps. All right, so now we have the median. The next thing I need to look for is the mean of this scores. So for the mean, I'm going to add another table for each score times its frequency, or you can just add all of this and divide by 30. You still have the same answer for the mean. So I'll say 1 times 1, 1, 2 times 1, 2, 3 times 5, 15, 3 times 4, 12, 5 times 5, 25, 7 times 6, 42, 8 times 2, 16, 9 times 3, 27, 10 times 4, 40. Now we sum all of this. So you get, you are working with your calculator, right? You sum all of this because we are working together. You sum. So you have 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 12 plus 25 plus 42 plus 16 plus 27 plus 40. So that gives us 170. So what's 170 divided by 30? 170 divided by 30 is 5.6. Okay, that gives us 170. I hope that is okay. So our mean, x bar, so we're at C now, or D rather. Our mean, x bar, is equal to the sum of each score times its frequency divided by what? Divided by the total frequency, call it n. So this is going to give us 170 if we have done this calculation correctly. 170 divided by 30. And what will this give us? This will give us 170 divided by 30. That gives us 5.6. That's the 1 decimal place. 5.6. Now E, find the probability that a student chosen at random will score a mark less than 8. So probability of a student having a score, let's call that score X, to be less than 8 will be equal to, how many students have a score less than 8? That's what we need. How many students have a score less than 8? 1 is less than 8 now. So we have 1 plus plus this other one has a score less than 8 plus 1 plus we again less than 8. This one 5 of them less than 8 again. 5. 4 is less than 8 and there are 3 students, so plus 4. 5, okay, plus 3. Then plus 5 again. Then plus 6 students have scored 7 and 7 is less than 8, so plus 6. So in fact, you are going to sum all of these places like this because these scores are less than 8. This is what you are summing. And we divide by 30. So we have 1 plus 1, 2 plus 5, 7 plus 3, 10 plus 5, 15 plus 6, 21. So this will give us 21 on 30. So that's 21 on 30, right? And what's 21 on 30? That's 7 on 10. Divide all through by 3. 7 on 10. So the probability that a student chosen at random will score a mark less than 8 is 7 on 10. Now in figure 3, x is the midpoint of AB and y is the midpoint of BC. Given that AB is equal to A and AC is equal to V, find in terms of A and B the vectors AX. So what is the vector AX? The vector AX, that's from A to X. We now see that this AX like this is half of AB, right? AX is just equal to half of AB. Half of AB. And our AB is equal to small a. So this will be equal to a half A. A half A. Then now B, we have to look for CY. The vector CY. And how do we get the vector CY? The vector CY will be equal to, from C to Y is a half of BC. Alright, C to Y rather is a half of CB. So from C to Y is a half of, because I move from C to Y, right? It's a half of CB, because I move from C to Y, half of CB. And this will be equal to a half into, let's move from C to Y. To move from C, half C to B. C to B is negative B, that's negative small vector B, plus vector A. So this is all about this question. As simple as it is like this, because from C to B is B minus A. Okay. So this brings us now to the last question. Question 4, which reads, using a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on each axis for 0 less than x less than 9 and minus 2 less than y less than 10, draw and label triangle XYZ with coordinates x 32, y 62, and z 65. The transformation T is a translation that maps triangle XYZ to x prime, y prime, z prime, where T equals 34. Find the coordinates of x prime, y prime, z prime. Draw the triangle x prime, y prime, y prime. Reflect triangle XYZ on the y-axis to give x prime prime, y prime prime, z prime prime. Write down the coordinates of x prime prime, y prime prime, and z prime prime. So let's tackle this question, guys. So the first thing is we use a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on both axes. We take our graph paper. And the instructions here, normally, if you follow exact as it is here, your graph paper will have some issues. So I've adjusted the range. So this is what we have for the x and the y, and then these are the coordinates we have entered. So we have this. Now we start by sketching or drawing the triangle XYZ, whose coordinates are given. So the x coordinate is, for x, the point x, we have 32. This is the point 32. Then for y, we have 62. This is 62. And for z, we have 65. This is 65. Okay. We now sketch, that's our triangle. Okay. Okay, so we should draw the triangle and label it. So this is the point X, this is the point Y, and this is the point Z. So we have drawn and labeled. That's the instruction. Now they say this translation T map triangle XYZ to X prime Y prime Y Z prime, where T is a translation 3, 4. This 3, 4 means it has to move along the x-axis 3 units to the right and upwards by 4 units. So with a point like this, it has to move 3 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, and 4 units above, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we expect Z prime to be here. Z prime should be here. This is our Z prime. Z prime. Then for Y prime, it has to move 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be a Y prime. This will be Y prime. And X has to move 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be X prime here. Okay. So if I move the triangle, let's see what happens. So you can see that the triangle moving, and then now moves up by 4 units. Bam. So that is it. Moves 3 units to the right and 4 units, or you can do the calculation step by step. Take each point and then you add 3, 4 to it, and you get all of these points. So they say find the coordinates of X prime, Y prime, and Z prime. So what is X prime? X prime has coordinates 6, 6, right? So X prime has coordinates 6, 6. Okay. So the coordinates, let me just put B here. B, so X prime has coordinates 6, 6, 6, 6. Y prime has coordinates. Y prime has coordinates 9, 6, 9, 6. And Z prime has coordinates. What's Z prime? Z prime has coordinates 9, 9. 9, 9. 9, 9. Draw the triangle X prime, Y prime, Y prime, Z prime. That's what we have drawn. Then in D, reflect triangle XYZ on the Y axis. This is the Y axis, right? This is the Y axis, and this is the X axis. Reflect the triangle XYZ on the Y axis. Now, when we reflect this on the Y axis, this is what we are going to have. This point here, where we reflect, is going to be the same distance from this, from here to this line, be the same distance from here to here. So expect our X prime prime to be here. This will be our X prime prime. X prime prime. When you reflect Y on this Y axis, the distance from Y to the Y axis is 6. So you're going to have the same units from here to here will be 6. So this will equally be our Y prime prime. Y prime prime. You reflect equally Z on the y-axis. The distance from the y-axis to z is 6 units, so you equally have 6 units. So our z prime prime should be here. Z prime prime should be here. So if you do all of that, this is what we are going to have for the triangle Z. These are the points, and that's the triangle when we link all of those points. Now we can now write the coordinates of the triangle x prime prime. So what will be x prime prime? What are the coordinates? So x prime prime, we have, what are the points? Minus 3, 2. So we have negative 3, 2. Negative 3, 2. Oh, negative 3, 2 rather. Not negative 2, 3. Yeah, negative 3, 2. Thank you for the correction. Negative 3, 2 means you are really following the class. And the y prime prime. What do you have y prime prime, guys? Y prime prime, we have negative 6, 2. Yes, negative 6, 2. You have negative 6, 2. And for z prime prime, what do we have? Z prime prime, we have negative 6, 5. Negative 6, 5. So this was paper of 2022. We have more of other subjects: economics, physics, mathematics, additional math, chemistry, and so on. Please just go to the channel online and you'll see more on these videos. Don't forget to subscribe. That's what we need. Subscribe, leave your comments, visit our blog where you get the past papers and a lot more. If you are interested in having a copy of the booklet from 2010 to 2022 with other years added and our mocks added, you can equally visit our website. Please don't forget to subscribe, like our videos, subscribe, like our videos, share them in your WhatsApp groups, Facebook, and so on. Thank you so much.